Greetings and welcome to another episode of Much Ado About Board Games. I'm Monte and, well, I'm Monte because we're here for another solo installment. And today we're looking at the new WizKids game, Super-Skill Pinball 4K by Geoff Engelstein. And this is a 1 to 4 player game. They say it plays in about 30 minutes, and that's probably about right for the solo game, and I would assume it's about the same for the multiplayer because you are playing simultaneously. And it says 12 and up for the ages. So let's go ahead and open up and see what we have inside the box. So first off, I want you to notice before I open it up, 4K has the number 4 there. That's because we are actually looking at 4 games in one. This is a pinball game, and they actually have in here 4 different pinball tables on which you can play, which also leaves open the speculation that we are going to get additional pinball tables to play on, which in my opinion would be excellent because, spoiler alert, I really dig this game. We have a quick start sheet for one of the pinball tables, which is the Carnival pinball table, the easiest of the 4 to play, but not the one we're looking at today. And then the actual instruction booklet, which gives you the overview of what applies to all the tables, and then the special features that you see per each table, because there are some unique aspects of each table that are really cool. So we'll take a look at that in a second as well. And then we have the tables. Now, each table has 2 parts. It has the actual pinball table, and then it has in here the back glass. Oh, wrong one. It has the, and all these are double-sided, so you can get, then you have the back glass. So for each game, you have the pinball table and the back glass, and the back glass is where you're going to keep your score. And it has a cool graphic. On some games, this back glass actually contains another pinball table in and of itself, just like many pinball games or pinball tables that are available at arcades, whatever those are. So let's go ahead and of course, like I said, you have 4 different tables. So each pinball table has a pinball, the main area, and a back glass. And each of these are double-sided for the different ones. So here we are playing the Dance Fever table of Super-Skill Pinball 4K. And we can see that it looks very much like a pinball table. You have everything you would expect to see in pinball tables. You have bumpers, you have little spinner areas where it goes in and makes the spin and the balls go up. It has drop targets where you hit them and they go down. And then of course you have the flipper zone, which we're all very familiar with because I know when I play pinball, this is where I spend most of my time, down in the flipper zone, or actually more accurately, below the flipper zone. So it's all here. And again, we have our nice little pinballs that look like pinballs, but are really just half pinballs. Very cool and clever. And we have dice because this is a roll and write game. The first thing that is the most important to know is, since this is a very thematic game, it just oozes pinball, is that pinball uses gravity, and this uses gravity in the sense that your ball constantly wants to travel towards the bottom of the table. And that's the same here. So the general rule, not always, but the general rule is that the ball is going to always want to go to the next zone down. The way we know that we have multiple zones here is by looking at the solid lines. So this is the top zone. Then we have this zone here, that's the second zone. Then we have a very thin zone here, third. Then we have another zone here, and then we have our flipper zone down there. So it wants to, every time you roll the dice, it's going to want you to go to the next zone down unless there are extenuating circumstances. So just to give you an idea, typically we roll and we're going to select one of those dice because we have one ball in play. Now the multi-ball does come in, so there is going to be a possibility later for us to use both of those dice. But right now we have one ball in play, so we're going to choose one of those dice as to where to go. And I'm going to go ahead and show you some of this as we go so you can see how this works. So I'm going to go ahead and put the back on my pen, and we rolled a 3 and a 2. Now, Up here in this top zone, which is where we go first, and notice that this is saying it can go to either. Now there's a yellow and red arrow. That is important to point out that you're going to see some features that are yellow, some features that are red, and some features that are white. And that's going to be more important when it comes to the point of when you get shot up off of these flippers. With the flipper, like for instance, just like in regular pinball, this yellow flipper down here is going to basically shoot the ball over here on the left side here because the flipper's on the right side. On this left side, red flipper, when it flips, it's going to flip over to these red features on the right side. So that's why the colors are there, and they really do come in, they do become important as the game goes on. So I'm right now in this top zone, and these are bumpers. These are disco ball bumpers. So this is one of those things that can break that rule of going down to the next level. So I'm gonna just choose one, and I can go to either the yellow feature or the red feature because we have both arrows, and I'm going to choose the 3. So I'm gonna have 3 be the die I chose and the 2 be the die that I did not use. And notice it says here, for every box you cross out, you get a point. So I'm going to give myself a point right up here. Now, if we were playing a multiplayer game, I would right now, even though I chose the 3, someone else might choose the 2 because we're all using the same roll. Right now, everyone playing, and I'm playing solo of course, everyone playing can choose whatever die they want off of those 2 rolled dice. And then once everyone chose, then it would be the next turn. Now, the same person, you can have a designated roller and just have that person roll for the entire game, or you can pass the dice around. It doesn't much matter, and the rules don't really specify. So I'm just gonna, since I'm here alone, I'm gonna go ahead and do all the rolling myself. How about that? So the next one, and this will show you the bumpers, hopefully. I get a 1 and a 4, excellent. Now, normally, like I said, oh, and this is important, when I did this, I moved the ball to the feature that I just hit. So I hit this bumper, so that's where my ball is going to be. Now, I rolled a 1 and a 4. Normally, gravity would pull me down, but we're in a bumper zone, and we all love those bumper zones where all of a sudden, you know, your ball can go back and forth and you can end up getting tons of points. It can stay up there for quite a while, sometimes if you're lucky, which I never am. But in this case, I was, because I rolled a 4. And over here on the yellow bumper, there's a 4. So I'm going to cross out that 4. Once I cross out a number, then I can't use it again until it is erased. But I'm giving myself a point, and the ball bounces over here. Now, if it were the same number, like for instance, if I use that 1, I could not use that 1 to bounce onto the same bumper because that goes against the laws of physics. So I'm going to roll again. Hopefully I'll get a 1 or a 5. And I got a 1. Excellent. So then I fill in this 1 over here. So it's just basically bouncing back and forth between these 2 bumpers, and I'm getting myself another point. Yay, points. Oop. And I'm rolling again. That's a 6 and a 5. I needed a 6, so it's going to bounce to the other bumper. And I'm going to give myself another point. Excellent. And now I'm going to do it again. Hopefully this time I'll get a 5. Oh, I forgot to cross out my 6. I did not, by the way, get my 5. So now gravity is going to kick in and it's going to pull me down. Now, since the ball is over here, this is important. I rolled a 1 or a 2. I mean, a 1 and a 2. I can choose 1 or a 2. This comes down, and this comes to this box here, which has 2 or 3. Now, I'm going to stop real quick and then show you something about the boxes. Notice the boxes that I crossed off here, up here in the bumper area, all have 1 black line around them. Those are only erased when a set is complete. So in this case, when all 6 of these are filled, that's when I would erase all 6 of those. If there's a dotted line, which you see down here in the flipper zone, then you can see that there's dotted lines. Those are erased at the end of the round. Now, we're in round 1 right now, so I didn't do this, but I should have, because this is round 1 and each ball is 1 round, and you have 3 balls to use. Now, 2 at a time, even with multi-ball, but 3 different turns of having your ball actually leave. So we're in round 1. So I'm going to go ahead and circle round 1. And so the dotted lines are erased each round. And then you'll see there's double lines around some of these. These are one and dones. That means that once you use one of these boxes and you mark it off, that's it for the entire game. Not for the round. It never gets erased. So some of these are very powerful and you can use them once per game. So now, and that takes us to the box we're at now. It has a nice little infinity symbol on top. So the infinity symbol you never cross out because it's always available. So the 2 and the 3 are always available. For me to stay in this zone or to do anything in this zone, I have to use a 2 or a 3. And I have a 2, so I'm going to do that. But I'm going to tell you now that if I didn't have a 2 or a 3, that I would have to go down to the next zone down. So that is important to know. Now, if I had a 4 or 5, and you're like, well, can I just go over to that 4 and a 5? Not in this case, because there's an arrow that comes right off that bumper that I just left. It's telling me gravity's pulling me right here. And if I need a 2 or a 3 in order to enable that zone. And I do, I have a 2, ta-da, huzzah. So what that does is that means I get to start Disco Pinferno multi-ball. So up here, and this is something unique to this table, is we have a second table up here in the back glass. And that means that we get a ball that starts here in another pinball table that's up here. So we see that it starts off there. And this is where the ball is going to start for the next round. So now I have 2 balls going on. So when I roll these dice, one is going to be for my Disco Pinferno, and the other one's going to be for the main table down here for Dance Fever. So I'm going to roll my 2 dice, a 1 and a 6. So gravity is going to pull this down, and and again, I'm in this side, so the white arrow is pulling me to this, and I'm going to take the 6 down here and the 1 up there. So I don't have to move anything because we're all using the same dice if we're playing with multiple players. But I'm going to take the 6, and notice these squares are all connected. These are all connected into one rectangle. So if I use the 6, I'm crossing off all those, and I get a point. Huzzah. Now, that means I'm using the 1 on the other side, on the top. I'm using the 1 for the Disco Pinferno, and these are drop targets. So these are the drop targets just like that, but notice it is separated. So I'm going to cross off this 1. Now would be a good time for me to tell you what happens with these drop targets. Now, once a target is dropped, it is down until your entire set is filled in. When a set is filled in, then you erase them and they reactivate. Now, they do different things. Down here on the main table, this is the hot stuff bonus. If I fill both targets, so if I eventually get the stuff target, drop target activated, that goes down, I fill that out, then I'm going to get the hot stuff bonus, which is actually up here in my Disco Pinferno, which is going to double all the points I get up here. So that is an excellent, excellent thing. So again, I took my 1 here, I gave myself a point, and down here, I went ahead, I didn't move it down though, I took this and I gave myself a point. I believe I gave myself a point. I'm gonna think I gave myself a point. And so now we're set for the next roll. Oh, and the bonus is up here. If I mark off all of these 6 different areas or 6 different drop targets, then I'm going to move up on the fever. I'm gonna get some fever, some disco fever, and I'm gonna get points according to what it goes up to. So that's a really cool way of getting some extra points when you're up here. So my ball now goes over here because that's where it's at. And now I roll. Ooh, a 3 and a 3. This is important. So again, I can divide them up. A 3 for the Disco Pinferno and a 3 for the main table of Dance Fever. I'm going to go ahead and do my Dance Fever first. Remember, gravity is pulling it down. There's no bumpers, so I'm going down to the next level down. And I can choose. I can choose the 3-4 box over here for Boogie or the 3-4 box over here for Groove. Now, I'm going to choose the 3-4 box over here for Groove. And I get 1 point. Now notice I used 1 die, but since that's filling up, since those are connected, it fills in that entire box, but I still only get 1 point. Up here, I'm going to use my 3, but I can't just keep bouncing around up here because of gravity and there aren't any bumpers to help me out. So I go to the next zone down. And this brings me to my flipper zone. So I have a 3, so that means I'm going to cross out a 3. And next time I'm going to bounce off of this flipper. So that's going to be for this zone here. And that's it for this roll. And for this one, this goes over there next to that. And I gave myself my point. Notice I did not get a point for the flipper zone. And now we'll go to the next roll. Oh, double threes again. Oh, I forgot to tell you the important thing about double threes. So down here at the boogie bonus, and I'll make sure I mark them both separately and both completely through, is anytime you roll a natural double, you're going to advance the boogie bonus. You're going to advance the boogie bonus every time you roll doubles. Doubles advance the boogie bonus. Now we started off, and I forgot to mark this. Over here, this is the hokey pokey on the very bottom, and that starts off marked. So I didn't mark that at the beginning, so I just did. So last round, I got double threes. So you then erase the hokey pokey and you fill in the next one up, in this case, which is the funky chicken. Now, this is important. You see a star there and you're like, stars equal points. Well, that's true, but this is not one of those normal scoring points we see. This isn't gonna score yet. We don't score the boogie bonus until we get a bonus over here by hitting all three of these drop targets. Once these three drop targets have been all crossed off, that activates the boogie bonus, and we're gonna score wherever that boogie bonus is. So right now we have 1 star. So if we ever get this boogie bonus next, that's 1 star we're going to get. But this round, we just scored another natural double. And so I'm going to fill in the electric slide, which means that I'm gonna get 3 points. And I'm going to go ahead and erase the funky chicken. So basically you're only gonna have 1 of these marked at a time, and it's gonna keep moving up. It is possible, if you're up here at the hustle and you're waiting for 15 points, if you don't activate the boogie bonus and you do score regular natural doubles, then you're going to go circle back around to the hokey pokey. Because every time you roll natural doubles, you have to advance the boogie bonus, even if you want to or not. That is not a choice. So that's how that works. Also, you cannot use the nudge, which I haven't told you about yet. You can't use the nudge in order to give yourself doubles. Nudge is a way of changing a die that you have into a die that you want. But we haven't really gotten in a position where we really need a certain die. So I haven't gone to that yet, but I will show you how you can change the dice that you get. But you do so, to do so, you run a risk of tilting the game. And if you tilt, you are in trouble. You lose the ball immediately. Bum, bum, bum. Cool. So let's go ahead now. And so we have the threes again. So we're going to go with 3 up here, 3 down here. Now up here, we were on this, the flipper here flipped us. And it doesn't have any red or yellow. They're all red or yellow, and they're all white. White means any flipper can activate it. So in this case, I can go to anything, which, well, it can only be a 3. And I have a 3. So I'm going to go ahead and give myself the 3 and give myself the point. And then there's 3 down here. And again, I can't just keep bumping around down here. So I'm going down to the flipper zone, and I have to go to a 3. So down here, I can't just keep bouncing around on bumpers either, because there aren't bumpers. So gravity takes effect, and I move down to the flipper zone. In the flipper zone, I have a 3 that I'm using down here. So I have a couple of options. I can come down here to this little dotted box and cross out that one. I can cross off this one on this side, the 3 or the 2, and those are my only options I have right now. So I'm going to go ahead and take this 3 down here. The reason being that I want to, because this is going to come down here, because you're going to notice that up here, since I'm going to be using a red flipper, that flipper is going to flip me up this direction towards these red features. And I want to use these red features because that's one way I can get that boogie bonus. There's other bonuses I get for getting down the groove, but I want to get down that boogie bonus so I can score some points from the boogie bonus here. So that was my turn there. I'm going to go ahead and roll again. A 3 and a 6. So again, I can decide how I want to split these up since I am in multi-ball. So 1 ball gets the 6 and 1 ball gets the 3. I am going to say I'm going to use the 6 down here, and I'm just going to fill in this boogie, this here. So the 6 is going to go here, and it's going to flip over there, and I'm going to get myself a point. And that means I'm going to use the 3 on top, and the 3, oh, I can't use the 3 because the 3 is already used on my flippers, and that means the ball will drop. And it's not going to end the round, but it'll end my use of that ball. So I don't want to do that yet. So I'm going to take away the 6, and I'm going to use the 3 down here. So I'm going to use the 3 down here, which puts that there, and I'm going to use the 6, which I still can cross off here. And I would still get a point from the other one. I'm going to get a point from that 6. So now I have 10 points in the game. And now it's over here. Now I roll again. Ooh, a 5 and a 4. I thought I had doubles. Again, if I wanted that to be a 5, I could, but that's not going to give me natural doubles, and I won't be able to advance the boogie bonus. So again, this is dropping, gravity's kicking in, so I can take a 5. I'm going to take this 5, 4 here. Now, because the reason I'm taking both of them is because they're boxed together into a rectangle. So I have no choice but to take both of those together. So that's down here on the red flipper now. And if I use that down there, then that means I'm going to use a 4 up here. And neither of these give me points. They just give me access to the flippers. And this moves down here to the yellow flipper. And I get 2 2s, natural 2s. So that means now the boogie bonus is up to the bump. And I'm going to cross out, I'm going to erase, I should say, the electric slide. So now I can get 8 points if I can get this boogie bonus activated. And I have a 2 and a 2, no thought process here at all. A 2 and a 2, 2 at top. Hey, that's what I actually need. So I'm going to cross off this 2, give myself a point. And down here, this is going to go up to one of the 2 areas. I can go all the way with the red, since I'm coming off the red flipper, I can go all the way up to hit this up here, but I can't because that needs a 5. I haven't even mentioned this area. This area, I get some points for the die I don't use. So I can go through it, but the die I don't use for this ball is what's going to score me points. In this case, I don't really want to use that because if I use a 2 to go through, that means that I'm scoring for the 2, which gives me only 2 points. And it's not going to do anything up there, so I'm not even going to bother with using my 2 up there. I'm going to use my 2 down here, cross off these 2 boxes, which is really what I wanted anyway, and give myself a point. And that one is now going to move up to there so I remember exactly where it's at. And now I'm going to roll again. Natural 4s. Okay, now again, now we're up to 15 points, but there's nothing that's going to keep that there. So if I don't get this boogie bonus, but I get another set of doubles, that's going to go back around to the hokey pokey. I don't want that. So I hope I don't get any more doubles until I score that boogie. So 5 and a 4 and a 4, no thought process. This is going to come up off that bumper to this 4 here, which is what I wanted, which will give me a point. And I am going to take that one no matter what, so that goes up there. And down here, I'm going to take the 4, and that means that this is coming down because gravity's kicking in. And again, I don't have any choice. I'm taking this one, but now I'm coming down to the yellow. I'm coming down to the yellow flipper. So next time, I'm not going to be able to hit that one immediately unless I go up to the top and try coming down to it, which is what I'm going to try to do. Ooh, a 3 and a 4. Okay. So first of all, I want to see, oh, I needed a 2 for here. 3 and a 4. I'm going to use a, and I don't need the 3 or the 4 there. Let me see what I need up here. Oh, I need a 5, which will get me down to this bumper. So I'll use the 5 down here, and that goes down to the yellow bumper. Oh, wait, 5's not even an option. I mean the 4. Oh, I can't. Oh, interesting. Okay, so I'm up here. I need a 3 or 4. 3 or 4 is not going to help me. So this ball is definitely going out. So I'm just going to say that's the 3, and that's going to end that. and this is going to come off the board, but everything stays, nothing is erased yet. Nothing is erased yet. I'll tell you when you erase in a minute. So this comes over here, and then so I'm going to use the 4 for down here. And this is going to come up. I can't use the 4 there. So I'm going to come up here, go through this little spinner. And remember, I'm using the 4 to come up here. Actually, I'm going to use the 3 to come up here. I'm going to use the 4 on the top. It's not going to change anything. It's still going to drop, but I'm going to use the 3 for down here. So coming through with the 3, the 4 is the unused. So I'm crossing out the 4 because it wants the unused die here. And that gives me 4 points. Woohoo, 2, 3, 4. And then this is going to come all the way up here. I'm using the 4. So, I'm using the 3, but the 3 still doesn't help me here. So then it comes around and gravity kicks in, and it's going to go here. And I need a 3 or a 2, and that's the infinity symbol, so I can't cross it off. 3 or a 2. And that 3 or a 2 can either start Disco Pinferno multiball, or I can erase the red pin. I can get rid of all the red boxes on top of the flipper. Well, I'm going to start the ball again. I'm going to start multiball. And I'm going to keep going like this. Oh no, double 6s. So now I erase the hustle, and now it's the hokey pokey. So if I get that bonus now, I'm getting 0 points. So I don't want to get the bonus right now. I don't want that 5 or the 6 right now. But I do have to use a 6 down here and a 6 up there because that's how having the same die works. And up here, this just came down. There's no 6s to fill, so you go to the next one down. You can't just hang out, so it's going to use this bumper down here, so it's going to come all the way down to this bumper. And no points for hitting that bumper. Boo. And we don't have the hot stuff bonus activated. And down here, we'll use the 6, and it comes down. It comes down to this arrow, nothing to use. And I can use any of the 6s over here. I don't want to use this 6 though. So I'm going to use the 6 by the VE. Perfect. So now I have 2 of my 3 boxes on the groove side, which will give me some bonuses. So now I'm going to go ahead and roll again. A 2 and a 5. Let's see. Actually, I'm going to take the 2 down here for good reason. I'll show you why. So I'm going to cross off the 2. This is the inner lane. You have an inner lane and an in lane and an out lane. This is the in lane, and I'm going to get 2 points for the in lane. And basically that's still going to put me on a flipper, but I don't have to fill in a flipper box. I just fill in that bonus or that box there, but that's not, the flipper boxes are the ones that are right on top of the flippers. So I'm going to use the 2 down here, and I'm going to use the 5 up here, and that's exactly what I needed. So this 5 is now going to fill in this part of the fever, and this bottom part gets me 4 points immediately. So I get 1, 2, 3, 4 points. And anytime an entire set is filled in, you're going to erase them and reset them. So you can imagine that these drop targets have dropped, and now I've got them all, so they're all going to pop right back up. So that's how that works. And now I am down here. And now I'm going to roll again. 2 and a 5. So let me look down here and see, I don't want to use the 5 there, but look at this. I can use the 5 down here on this one, and it's going to go up here. It's going to go all the way up. It's going to go up to this zone, fill with the unused die. The one that I didn't use for this one's a 2. So I'm going to fill that in and give myself 2 points. But I am using a 5, and that's exactly what I need. So it's going to stop right here on this bumper, and hopefully I can get a 2 next time. And that does give me a point. And up here, since I used a 5 down here, I'm using a 2 up here. And now these are all reset, and now I can use this 2, and it comes right over there. And that's pretty much how the game works. I'm going to go ahead and zoom through the rest. The only other thing you do need to know about are these bonuses here. If I fill in all the groove, then I can choose a bonus from this box here. The bonuses that are available are I can erase both spinners, which means that I can go ahead and just clear these all out, because once these get filled in, these aren't going to get erased until all of them are filled in. And maybe I don't want to wait that long and I want to start getting some of these other ones. So I can erase both spinners. I can make the next spinner worth 2 times as much, which is whatever die I don't use. Whatever that ends up being, I can double that score. The next time I use the out lane, and we haven't talked about the out lanes. The out lanes, if you cannot use the in lanes or the bumper or the actual flipper boxes, then you're going to have to use the out lane. And the out lane is basically you have lost your ball. But you do get bonus while you go. You're going to get 2 points for all the yellow boxes that you have filled in the bottom and the top. So even though you're about to end that round, you're going to cross out. You're going to get 2 points for each box that you filled in. Now, there is a way also to get an outlane bonus And if you get the outlane bonus, then that means that you're going to actually it's going to double. So it'll be 4 points for every box that you have filled in over that. And so that's basically how this is going to work. And the way that you get this outlane bonus is if you ever choose this outlane times 2, right here, this crosses out, which means you can never use that again. And then you can just circle this so you can still see what it is. And whenever you go out next time, then that's going to give it. For the next spinner, if you choose to use that bonus when these are all down, then you do that and this will activate. These do not erase at the end of a round. So let's say at some point your round ends and you drop off the board, then you only erase the dotted lines. So down here, everything in the flipper zone, up here, everything in the flipper zone. Everything else you have up there is going to stay in that position. The last thing is the skill shot. Up here, it says if we ever fill in all 6 of these boxes, we get a skill shot. A skill shot means that we can immediately circle one of these numbers. Like in this situation, I can just circle a 2. And that means that anytime if I want to use a 2 instead of what I rolled, to substitute one of my dice for that number, I can. The one thing I can't do, though, is I can't use the skill shot to take the place to make natural doubles. Natural doubles means that's actually how they're rolled. So if I wanted to bump this up from the bump to the hustle, I can't say I'm going to use my skill shot to replace the 5 and take the 2 2s. That's not how you can advance this boogie bonus. The only other thing I didn't mention is the nudge. Let's say you're about to go out and you really, really, really don't want to go out. So down to the out lane. So you want to change a number. Let's say you wanted to change that number from a 5 to a 3. You can do that. That is a difference of 2. So what you're going to do is you can only nudge the table exactly 3 times in the game. So you cross off the nudge and you put that difference of what you change that die to down there. I changed from a 5 to a 3, which is 2. And so I'm going to go ahead and put the 2 here for nudge. Now that is, even though I didn't physically change this because I'm playing a 1-player game, you would just write down, you would just know what that is and use that on your table because you're not changing it for other people. You're just changing it for yourself. Now on the very next roll, whenever you nudge the table, the very next roll, you have set the table into a dangerous situation. The very next roll, you're going to roll the dice and you're going to look at the difference between those 2 dice. Now, in this case, the difference is 1. As long as that difference is more than your nudge, you are okay. As long as that difference is more than your nudge, you're okay. If it's ever the same or less, you have tilted. So again, let me say that again. So if it's ever the same or less than your nudge number, then you have tilted the game and you have lost your all the balls that you have out there. Your round is over and you start the next round. So In this case, it's 1 and my nudge is 2, so I nudge too much. So in that case, absolutely immediately that round is over and I now move on to the next round for the next roll. That roll is actually going to be for the next round. And that's how you play the game of Super-Skill Pinball 4K. So let's go ahead and zoom through the rest of this and see how this comes out. That is my last ball. So that means I have come to an end and my score is 118. So not really sure how great or how awful that is yet. But I will say that, and they do actually, on the back of the instruction booklet, it has a place for you to put your high scores or to put your scores, and then you can kind of compare. And it's really a nice touch that they put the 3 initials there. I assume that stands for Geoff Engelstein forever. Don't know. So, and down here you can actually mark off achievements you get. So for Dance Fever, if you get the hustle bonus, I did not get the hustle bonus, you can give yourself an achievement. If you get the 10-star fever bonus, which is all the way up there, I did not, or the 15-star, or complete both yellow and red spinners. As you can see, I did not do that either. So no achievements, a score of 118. Excellent game. I've only played it solo, love it solo. Interested to play it with others. Probably not much interaction at all, but still fun to kind of compare and to groan about your awful luck at the tables or your stupendous skill at Super-Skill Pinball 4K. There you go. Thanks for joining us, and please join us again next time for a new episode of Much Ado About Board Games. Thanks a lot, and have a good day. Bye.